is Melinda. I go by Mel. I was born and raised in Bakersfield, California, and this is my story.
Throughout the hard times, we're still making changes. Find the ways to help each other, many similar faces. There's a way.
My parents have always worked. They've always worked 9 to 5. I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl, so I was very protected, and my parents were very strict. So I wasn't like allowed to go to my friends' houses. I wasn't allowed like to go to the park because my school was like by the park, and I was not allowed to go to the park. So I was really like, I was really sheltered and really like closed in. My parents kept me like, I don't know the word, like safe. I don't know. They kept me away from a lot of things. My brothers, they were like in the streets. They were in gangs and stuff like that. They're in and out of jail. Yeah, I used to just be by myself all the time. I was just by myself, either outside in a tree or like in my room, just like in my own little world. I would play with my Barbies, or I would literally get like shampoo bottles, and I'd be like, oh, like playing with shampoo bottles like a weirdo. And then, like as I got older, I started to get like a little chunky, and like I didn't know like where I fit in. So I would get like bullied a lot, and not by like people that I didn't know, but like family too. There was just one instance that I remember. My cousin was babysitting me, and she locked me in the closet, and she told me that I couldn't come out because I was ugly, and she didn't want her friends to see me. And I remember that day, like even now it kind of affects me. Like it makes me a little like emotional. Like why me? Like I was just always so like to myself and quiet. I didn't bother anybody, And she locked me in the closet, and she said I had to stay there because her friends were coming over, and I was too ugly for them to see me. Like she didn't want them to see me. So I was probably like 12, like around 11 or 12. And I just remember being in that closet, and I'm like, why is everybody so mean to me? Like, what did I do? And I just broke out of that closet and I took off running. And we kind of lived close by, but not like close as walking, but like driving it was close. So I just took off running, and I took off running like towards my house. And I remember like seeing my dad, because it was like almost time for him to get off at work. Or he was already off work, I mean. And he came and he saw me, like I was running down the street, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you running? And I'm like, my cousin's being mean to me, and like I never told anybody. Like I never even told my parents. I never told my brother. Like I just kept quiet. I kept the bullying to myself. Like I never told anybody. I just took it. And so my dad found out because I had to tell him, why I was running, why I wasn't there. And so I ended up like she got in trouble or whatever, and just went on my way. But that's kind of like how I grew up. Like I grew up being bullied, because I looked different. I did live like in a white neighborhood, and I went to a white school, and I was different. I wasn't skinny. I didn't have blonde hair, and the guys didn't like me. I was just a loner. I was always by myself.
What's your nationality?
I'm Mexican.
Both your parents are from Mexico?
Yeah, my parents are from, they're from Texas. My dad is from Texas, and my mom she's from LA. She's from Downey, I believe. But yeah, I'm Mexican, but I don't speak Spanish. My dad speaks Spanish, and my mom speaks a little bit of Spanish, but they never taught me, which I wish they would have, because it would help. And later in my life, I want to say, towards high school, I was around 16 years old. I met my ex-husband now. But my boyfriend at the time, I met him when I was 16, and we started dating, and we dated for like about 3 months, and we broke up because he cheated on me, and probably should have been a red flag for me not to go back. But a year later, we kind of like reconnected, and we got back together, and we ended up getting married at 19. And we got married because I got pregnant, and I didn't want to like have a baby and not be married. So I told him that. I said I don't want to bring a baby into this world and us not being married. Like, I want to have a husband, I want to have my baby. And so we ended up getting married at 19, and it all started from there. Like, he would be gone for days sometimes, and he would come home, and sometimes he'd come home with like jewelry, but jewelry like it wasn't in a box, like it had no receipt, no box, no nothing, but he's like, oh, here, and I'd always ask him like, where are you going, like where are you? And there was just one time that I was so fed up that he just didn't come home. He wouldn't come home, and he's I'm calling him, he's turning up his phone, he's not answering. And then I see him, he's walking. I'm in the backyard with his grandpa, because we lived with his grandpa at the time. And I see him coming through the back gate. And I'm like, I get in his face, which I shouldn't probably have done. And I said, like, where have you been? I'm literally in his face, like, where have you been? And he doesn't give me an answer. So I'm so mad that I don't know what came over me, but I slapped him. Like, I slapped him. And all I remember is him just punching me, like giving me a 1, 2, 3, like just punching me. Like, that's all I remember. And I did, after that happened, I did leave, and I stayed with my parents. And I stayed with my parents, I want to say for like a week. And he came back, and he begged for me to come back, and I'll never do it again. He told me, and I went back. And then it happened repeatedly. We would get into little arguments because he didn't come home, and he would hit me. And I always wonder, like, why because we lived, like I said, we lived with his grandpa. Like, why nobody ever said anything, and nobody ever stopped him. But all those times that he had hit me, each time I had left. And I remember there was this one time where I went to work with him because he started working in the oil fields, and he was working out of town. And they would pay for the hotel. So we were at this hotel, and I didn't know that he was using, and he was doing drugs. And so I just remember, like, this one day he came home when we were at the hotel, and he was accusing me of cheating on him with people in the hotel. And I was like, no, like, really? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm just here literally in this hotel room while you're at work, and just literally like here. I had my daughter, I had a daughter and I had a son at that time, and they're babies, both in diapers because they're a year apart. And I just remember him, like, he brought his shotgun, and he ripped the phone cords out of the wall, and he's like, you're gonna tell me right now the name of the guys that you're cheating on me with, or I'm gonna F you up. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, I mean, because it wasn't the first time he hit me, so I'm just like, what do I do? And so he's literally like, I remember he put the shotgun like to him, and he's like, if you don't tell me who you're cheating on me with, I'm gonna shoot myself. And I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, what do I say? Like, for him not to do this, like, I'm gonna see him kill himself, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm just thinking this in my head. And then, so I didn't tell him, because obviously I'm not cheating on him. And so he takes a gun from him and he puts it at me. And he's like, "No, you tell me." And I told him, like, I'm not, like, I promise I'm not, like, can you please stop? I'm begging him, please stop. Like, our kids, like, you know, I'm telling him all this stuff to try to make him stop. And it just seems like the look in his eyes is like as if he didn't care. Like, he just wasn't there. Like, it was just like a shell of a person. Like, he was evil at that time. Like, I saw him as evil. And so he goes on and he starts beating me. Like, we go to the bathroom and he takes off the towel rack and he's just beating me with it, just beating me. And I'm just thinking, like, what do I do? What do I say to make him stop? Like, I don't know what to do because begging is not making him stop, you know, like talking about, you know, our kids are right here crying, like he's still not stopping. Like, nobody in this hotel room is hearing this, like, you know, like I'm screaming, I'm crying, like nobody's hearing me, nobody's helping me. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, he's gonna kill me. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna lie. Like, I'm just gonna make up names and I'm just gonna tell him like X, Y, and Z, like this is this person. So I was like, okay, yeah, fine. Like, they're over there and his name is, I don't even remember. I think it said like Carlos or something. And I'm like, his name's Carlos. Like, they're over there, like, you know, and then he leaves. So I leave. I run out the hotel room. I take my son and my daughter and I'm like, I go to the management and I'm like, you gotta help me. Like, my husband something is wrong and he's hitting me, like he's beating me. Obviously, like I'm bleeding like everywhere, like in my ear, I'm bleeding in my mouth, like I'm all bruised up. and so he calls the cops and the cops come, he gets arrested. He's in jail for like a month, I want to say. And his parents bail him out. And I was at my parents' house. I had to drive home because we were 6 hours away from home. And I had to drive home with, like, my ears were all bleeding. And I had my two, you know, my son and my daughter in the back, and I had to drive home like that.
How old were your kids?
My son, I want to say he was still like in a car seat, and I want to say it was probably like 8 months, 9 months, roughly. My daughter was, you know, she was a baby, like baby, maybe, I want to say, I don't even know, 3-4 months maybe. The first and second time that he hit me, I was pregnant with my son. Like the time where I had slapped him and he hit me, I was pregnant with my son, like just barely.
The grandfather didn't say anything?
They never said anything. They would always just be like, I mean, they would talk to him, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, you need to not do that. She's your wife. She's having your kid. But he was just like kind of, you know.
You still didn't know at the time that he was using?
I didn't know. He hid it so well. He was such a good, like, liar. He was so good at lying. And it was so, like, everybody would believe him. Like, he could tell you a story and you'd be like, oh my, this is like the best guy. Like, this guy is amazing, you know? And literally when we were married, everybody thought of us as a power couple. And it's so funny because, like, it wasn't like that for me.
Because you kept it hidden.
I kept it hidden. Like, I smiled in front of everybody, like everything was amazing. I hid it so well that people would be like, oh, Mel, like, you're so lucky. Like, you're so lucky to have a husband like, you know, like him. And, you know, and I wish my husband was like that. And it's just like, it's just so funny because it's like, yeah, please. No, but it's just so funny because behind closed doors, like, it wasn't like that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I was married to him for 16 years. And, don't get me wrong, like, we had good times, because obviously if we didn't have good times, like, I wouldn't have stayed. I wouldn't have kept going back, because there was times where he did, like, change, you know? He stopped hitting me. He would treat, like, it was like I was a queen and he was the king, but then it would always, like, just stop. He would always go back to being him.
When
So
did you
after,
realize that he had stopped, did you catch him using drugs?
no, I didn't find out until after like he was incarcerated, and then he was like, I was on drugs. Like, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. Please come home. I don't want my kids to grow up, without a father or a broken home. So a lot of the times that I went back was because of my kids. I didn't want that either. And he would always be like, we're married, you can't just break up with me, like you can't just leave, like we made a promise before God, like you can't leave me, like so I would always have that in my head too, like I can't disobey God, like I can't leave him, like he's the father of my kids, like I just can't. So after he came out of jail, obviously I went back, and everything was fine. I mean, he wouldn't hit me anymore, but he, anytime we had an argument, he was in my face. He would like choke me or like push me against the wall or push me down. But it was never like he would never hit me. I mean, all that stuff is bad too, but I mean, at least I wasn't getting punched in the face. That's what I thought. And so like later on down the line, in 2007, my brother, he found out that he had cancer. He had kidney cancer. And he was going to go into surgery, and the doctor was going to take it out. Like everything was supposed to be okay. So in surgery, the doctor actually nicked his liver. And so when he nicked his liver, the cancer spread. And over time, the cancer spread to his, like all in his body, to his brain and everything. And he eventually passed away. And it was really hard for me because my brother, he was like my oldest brother, and he was my best friend. And it was hard losing him. Like I had like a lot of like trouble sleeping, and especially like a year later, I had found out that I was sick. And when the doctor told me, because I went to the ER because I was just feeling super sick, like, and it wouldn't go away. Like I was having this stomach pain, and my back was hurting like super bad. And I just went to the ER, and the doctor came in, and he told me like, we did all the blood work, and it came back that you have a lot of protein in your urine, and your kidneys are failing. And I'm like, what? Like, like I thought I was just sick. I thought I had like food poisoning or something. And so he's like, yeah, like, your kidneys are failing. And I was like, oh no, like automatically, like I thought like, oh my God, like, am I gonna die? Like, do I have cancer? Like, like my brother, like, like I don't want to die. Like, I'm not ready. Like, I don't want to leave my kids. And so I ended up staying in the hospital for like almost a week, like 4 or 5 days. And I got out, and I had to go on the special diet and everything like that. And then I ended up seeing like a kidney doctor, a nephrologist. And we did all these tests, these biopsies to see like what's going on and everything like that. And they couldn't find out what was wrong. Like I didn't have lupus, I didn't have diabetes, I didn't have nothing that like would like be like, okay, this is an indicator on why your kidneys are failed. Like there was just, they didn't know. And so the doctor put me on steroids because they wanted to see like if it would improve my function. And it didn't. Like it did a little bit, but just not enough for them to be like, okay, like you're okay. So my doctor told me like, okay, you got to prepare yourself because you're gonna start dialysis. Like you're gonna need to be on the transplant list, and you're gonna need a kidney, and you're gonna start dialysis. So we want to prepare you. And he's like, where do you want your access? Do you want it in your chest? Do you want it in your arm or your stomach? And at the time, like I didn't really do my research. I was just kind of like, well, I have stomach issues, so I'm just gonna get it in my arm because I don't want it in my chest because then, because they say you can't take a shower and stuff like that. Like you have to like bird bath.
So
and I'm
what
like,
exactly is that?
dialysis is a machine that it cleans your blood because our kidneys clean our blood in like 24 hours, like, you know. It filters out all the toxins and everything like that, like a normal person in 24 hours, all the toxins and everything, you know, when you pee and everything like that, it gets filtered out. So the machine, it cleans your blood, but only within 3 hours. So it's really hard on the body. And I started in 2014, dialysis. But in 2009, I had found out that I was pregnant. So I was sick. My kidney function was probably about, I think it was about 40% at that time, but it was going like up and down. It was like 30%, 40%. Like, so it would like fluctuate. And so I found out I was pregnant. And when you know I was pregnant and they found out, you know, like, oh, you have kidney failure and everything, like, they told me that I couldn't have my baby. They told me that I needed to abort her because she would it was either me or her, basically, is what they were telling me. They're like, you know, you got to choose, like, if you decide to have her, like, you know, she could either be like disabled, or she could be stillborn, or it could be like where it could be like a choice, you know, between you or her. And so I was so scared. And quite honestly, like, I hate to say it, but I didn't want to have another kid with you know, my ex-husband. I didn't want to have another kid. So I made the appointment, and I was like, okay, like, I got to prepare myself because I'm going to do this. And I don't want to do it, but, you know, because who wants to abort their baby? Like, that's a horrible thing. I'm not saying, like, or judging anybody like that, but just, like, that's how I felt at the time. And so I had the appointment ready, and at the time, my ex-husband, he was at work, and I called him and I told him everything that the doctor told me. He literally brought out a book and he said, this says right here, you know, this is gonna happen. And I'm like, and I told him that, and he's like, no, you're not aborting my baby. Like, you're not gonna do it. Like, you need to have faith. Like, you gotta believe in God and have faith that she's gonna be okay. He or she is gonna be okay. And so I was like, okay, all right, fine. Like, I'm gonna trust, you know. And she was fine. She's fine. She's beautiful. She's healthy. She's 14 years old right now. Like, she's a little shy, feisty one. But I ended up going to UCLA to be on the transplant list. And when you're on when you try to be on the transplant list, they go through like a lot of tests. Like, they test you like for everything. Like, they check your heart, they check everything. And so I did a bunch of tests and biopsies and stuff like that, and they found out that I had an autoimmune disorder. I still don't know which one to this day, but they are suspecting that it's something called Sjogren's syndrome. It's basically like the symptoms are dry eye and dry mouth. Like, those are the basic symptoms. And I have that like extremely. And so that's what they found out. They found out I had an autoimmune disorder, and that's what attacked my kidneys. So I have been on dialysis since 2014, and it's been 10 years. I've been on it for 10 years. Usually the wait from my blood type, which my blood type is O positive, is 8 to 10 years. But 2 years ago, they took me off the transplant list because I had some issues with my heart. I had it was this X-ray in the ER because I had got sick, and I had like I was really fluid overload. Fluid overload is because when your kidneys fail, you don't pee anymore. So I can't filter anything, and even if I could pee a little bit, nothing's being filtered because my kidneys don't work. So I was overloaded with fluid, and I was super sick. So they had to like drain some fluid from that was kind of going around my heart. And so they had an X-ray and an ultrasound and all that, and it showed like the fluid in my heart and everything. And they were saying that my heart was working as like an 80-year-old's heart, and I was only like in my early 30s. And And so they took me off because of that. Like, you know, you have to be in tip-top shape. Even though I'm sick, like I have to be strong enough to withhold, like, you know, to have surgery. And so they told me that since you know, like I had that result, that they were going to put me on pause because, you know, I wouldn't be strong enough for surgery. And there are some other little things like I had an issue with the transplant coordinator, like one, because there's like a whole team, and they sit in this table like this, you know, and they talk about you and they tell you if you're a good candidate or not for a kidney. And so one of the ladies there, she said that I wasn't a good candidate because, in her words, like my kids, like I don't have like a babysitter for my kids, basically, is what she was trying to say. Because there was this time where I had an appointment to go down there and I had to cancel because I didn't have a babysitter for my kids. Because, you know, you can't bring them or whatever because you're there for like all day for testing. And I told them, you know, I have to cancel. Can I reschedule? Because, you know, my babysitter, you know, she flaked out on me. So I can't come down because it's in, you know, UCLA. I'm in Bakersfield. And so she mentioned that had happened, and she's like, well, I don't think she's a good candidate because if she gets a kidney, then how is she going to make it to her appointments? Because what if for some reason she can't find a babysitter? And that was ultimately the reason why, like, I left UCLA, and like, you know, I didn't want to be at that hospital because I just felt like that was unfair. And I never said anything, or I never spoke up, which I probably should have. But I never did, and I just went to a different hospital. But yeah, I've been doing dialysis for 10 years, and it is rough. It is rough. And I had a really hard time the first year. I fell into super, super deep depression where I was just like super unhappy. And not to mention, you know, my marriage, I was unhappy in my marriage. So it was kind of like I was going through a lot. I was on dialysis. I didn't know how to like deal with that. I was sick all the time. And then I had like, you know, my husband who was just like a narcissist, and he was just like good in front of people, but then behind closed doors it was different. Like I just didn't know how to juggle. So I could remember a time where like I wanted to just die. Like I didn't want to live anymore. And I was laying on the bathroom floor and I was just begging my brother like just to take me with him. Like I was just crying like, brother, please take me with you. Like I don't want to be here. Like I'm not happy. And so I started watching like YouTube, and I started watching makeup tutorials, and I was like, wow, like this is really nice, you know, like I want to be able to do that. Like I want to put makeup on, like I want to look happy and look beautiful like these people, you know, like on the YouTube. And so like I started to like do it on myself. I started to like practice, and it started to make me feel good, you know, like at least I had something that would make me like feel good, because I didn't feel good in the inside, or like things in the outside weren't making me feel good. And so like, you know, as I got into makeup, I started to go like on Facebook, and I started to go live because there was like this live option all of a sudden. And so like I started to go live on Facebook, and I started to do my makeup. And let me tell you, I did not know how to do my makeup at all. I was just like following these tutorials. And so like I just like build this following on Facebook with us just doing makeup together. Like let's learn together. Like it made me so happy. Like I would just go live and like talk to all kinds of girls, and they could like, oh, like, you know, I could relate, you know, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get up out of bed and do your makeup every day. Like, you know, and that felt good. You know, it felt good to me, like to inspire people. Like, you know, you can do it, you can get up. Like, it doesn't matter like how you feel. Like, if you feel crappy, believe me, by the time you get up and you do your makeup, you're gonna feel like $1,000,000. Like, I promise. And like that felt good to me. And so I continued to go live. Like I went live and I was like, you know what? Like I really want to do this like, you know, on a professional level. Like I really want to do this for work, because you know, like it's always been a dream of mine, like to do makeup for, like in the movies. And so like everybody was like, you should, you know. And I remember searching like in my area like for makeup schools, but we didn't have any. We had like cosmetology school, but I didn't want to do hair, like I didn't want to do hair and nails or anything like that. Like I just wanted just to do makeup. And so I remember finding a school here in North Hollywood, and I went to school there, and I got certified as a professional makeup artist. And so like that's what I do now for work. I do makeup. I do like glam makeup and SFX work, and I still go live sometimes. I kind of fell off a little bit, but I have my Facebook page, and I have a really good big following. I have probably like about 426,000 people that follow me on Facebook. Yeah, and I started like just learning like with everybody and just telling everybody like, you know, you can do it. Like just get up, you know, and
Well,
push.
when we first met, I was on the set of a music video for
Yeah, for Little Rob. Yeah, I remember because my mother-in-law at the time, she tagged me on the post that she said she was looking for people. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be in a music video. Like they're not gonna pick me. Like I'm just this weirdo. Like they're not gonna pick me. And so I messaged her and I was like, hey, you know, if you need a makeup artist, like, you know, hit me up. Like I'm more than willing. Like, you know, I'll be there for you. Like, you know. And then she messaged me back and she was like, no, like I like your style. Like, you know, come. Like I want you in the music video. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay. And so yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. And I took my husband at the time with me because honestly, like every time I had something, he was there. He had to be there because I couldn't do anything. Like he didn't want me to do anything by myself. So which is okay, but at the time, it was okay. But what I really know now that I know like what his intentions were, it's like okay, now I know why you were with me all the time. You know, because you were making sure nobody was looking at me. You were making sure nobody was talking to me. You were making sure that I was just doing what I was, you know, like doing what I was supposed to do, but you were right there watching me. You know, he always had to have like an eye on me. Like I had to be right there, like next to him. If I wasn't, then I couldn't do it. Like I remember, I didn't graduate high school. He didn't let me. Like he didn't want me to go back to school. He said I couldn't go back to school because there was guys there and they were gonna look at me and they're gonna try to get at me. And so I couldn't go back to school. And I remember I really wanted to go back, and yeah, he didn't let me. But
Is that something that you possibly?
yeah, I actually go to school now. I went back to get my high school diploma, and I'm actually taking classes right now. It's hard because I don't remember nothing, but I'm doing it. It's pretty fun actually.
How old are your kids now?
So my oldest, his name is Frankie, and he's 19. He's about to be 20. And then I have my middle child. Her name is Samantha, and she just turned 18 in December. And then Jasmine, she's my youngest. She's my baby, and she's 14.
How do they feel about the whole situation?
Honestly, my son, he had a really hard time because so the day that I left, the day that I finally got the courage to leave their dad, we were having an argument because we were both working at this dispensary at the time, and I was always wondering why he would try to get me like fired. He didn't want me working there, and we had this argument because I worked for 7 days straight. And I told him, I said, I wanted to work for 7 days straight because I wanted to save money because I wanted to buy a car of my own. Like he had a car. Every time we would get a car, like it was the car that he wanted. And I was like, I just want a car of my own. Like, you know, his and hers. You know, was trying to convince him, you know, like, let me have my own car. So I saved up some money for the 7 days, and they wanted me to work another 7 days, and I was like, you know, please let me work another 7 days. Like I just want to get a car. Like I just want to get my cute little car. I would always tell him. And so we ended up having an argument, and he was just like in my face yelling at me, and I was just like, you know what, like just downgrading me. Like I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I was just so unhappy. Like And I was like unhappy with trying to pretend I was happy, because I was just so like to the point where I stopped taking care of myself. Like there'd be times where I wouldn't take a shower. Like I wouldn't do my hair. Like I wouldn't brush my teeth. Like I just didn't take care of myself. I didn't care anymore. Like, and it's sad to say because of my kids. Like I love them so much, but I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to live. I was just so unhappy with life. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, and I told him, like, I'm going to leave. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. He was calling me all the names in the book. He called me a bad mom because I wanted to work. And I was just like, no, like, I'm not a bad mom because I wanted to work. If anything, I'm a good mom, you know, because I get them everything that they want. Like, if they ask for something and I have the extra money, like, I have the extra money to do it. So, like, that makes me a good mom. He's like, no, you're a bad mom because you don't want to stay home with them. I was just so sick of it. So I was trying to leave and he wouldn't let me leave. And he kept pushing me back, like, you know, you're not leaving me. Like, you're not leaving. And my kids were there, you know, they're a little older. They're like, in their preteens, my two oldest. And he's pushing me back and I'm trying to get out of the front door. And I call my dad, and I tell him, I'm like, Dad, please, like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I just want to leave. And he's like, you know what, Mija, like, if I'm going to get you, you have to be sure, like, that you're going to leave, because I'm not going to go get you if you're going to go back, because you always go back. It's always something and you always go back. And I told him, like, no, Dad, like, I need help. So he wouldn't let me out the front door. And I literally like went past him and I climbed out the window. Like, I literally climbed out the window just to leave, and I ran to my dad because my dad was already there. And my kids were there and they were literally like crying for me to come back. And I remember my son, like, as I was leaving, he's like, Mom, like, don't leave. Like, come back, please come back, don't leave. And the reason why they didn't go with me is because he didn't let them. Like, he didn't let me take them. He's like, if you leave, you're not taking my kids. Like, he was literally about to fight my dad outside. And I'm like, no, like, you know, like, let's go, Dad. Like, let's just go. Like, if we don't go, he's not going to let me leave. And so my son was running after me. And after that, he had this anger towards me. And my kids really didn't take it very well, like, when we separated, because they were so used to us, like, always being together and me always going back. So they didn't think, like, oh, she's really gonna leave this time, like, you know, she's gonna stay, like, gone. And so he tried everything, like, to get me back. He even tried to, like, have my kids, like, tell me, you know, like, please come back, Mom, like, come back to Dad, you know, like, they would try to convince me, and I'd tell them, like, babies, like, I'm not happy, like, you know. And I try to explain to them, you know, like, if you're not happy somewhere, like, you don't have to stay. Like, just because you're married or whatever it may be, like, you don't have to stay if you're not happy. And so my son ended up, because his dad, you know, he ended up getting back into drugs and everything. And he told me a story where he had to, like, I guess his dad had passed out because he did, like, too much coke or something. And he had to, like, help him, and he ended up, like, turning on him, like, trying to, like, choking him, you know. So my son went through a really hard time, and he ended up doing like, fentanyl. And he got addicted, and he overdosed like 3 times. And he got in trouble for grand theft, and I can't remember for the life of me what the other charge was. But he had gotten into trouble, and he was in juvenile hall. But he was, like, in like the holding part of it or something. And because of COVID, because it was, like, COVID at that time, so he was in quarantine. And so he never, like, actually went to juvenile hall, because they ended up, because since he was, like, it was his first time, he ended up, like, getting kind of, like, how do you say it, like they were, like, lenient on him because it was his first time. So we kind of, he he sobered up and he ended up going to like therapy, and like he was doing court and everything, and then he was on probation for, I want to say like a year. He was on probation for a year, and then he had to do like community service and everything like that. But now like he's thriving, he's amazing. He graduated high school. I'm so proud. Like honestly, it was a hard time and I didn't think that he was going to graduate, but he ended up graduating. He's working now. He just bought a truck. Like he's doing so good. I'm so proud of him. He has a beautiful girlfriend and he's just doing amazing. My daughter, she just turned 18, so she's looking for a job right now. I'm like trying to tell her like, you can apply at Starbucks, like, like give me my coffee. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, like they're doing good now, but it was a struggle in the beginning. Like when me and their dad separated, where we just got divorced because it was just an ongoing like battle with child support, with alimony, because I was asking for alimony. My doctor tells me that hopefully by the end of like this year I should be on it and have a kidney, because you know I've been on dialysis for 10 years, and like I said, the wait for my blood type is 8 to 10 years. So, and when they took me off, like when they put me on pause, like I was up there in the list, and they had already called me like 3 times for a kidney, but like something always happened that it just wasn't for me, I guess.
When it comes down to that, since they removed you, is that going to put you back down, or?
No, you stay when if they put you on pause or they remove you, you stay in the same place on the list. Like you don't get pushed down or anything like that. You stay right there. So if I get on the list, yeah, like I can get a kidney, you know, within, it just depends, you know, because either a living donor would be faster, because if I'm on the list, you wait for a deceased donor, and you know, there's like over 100,000 people on the transplant list waiting for a kidney, and you know I'm just one of 100,000 people. So I'm up there, but as soon as I get back on, like it could be any time that they will call me. So I'm just hoping that by the end of this year I can hopefully be on and hopefully have a kidney. If anybody would want to be tested or anything like that, for not only me but for other people, you can go to the National Kidney Foundation. So it's www.nationalkidneyfoundation.com, and they have a place where you can like become a donor, and you just fill it out, and yeah, they'll give you a call back. And especially like when you renew your license or you get an ID or anything like that, they ask you if you want to be a donor, and then you get that little pink sticker on your ID. Like, you know, do that, because it saves lives and that helps people. You know, like you can live a perfectly healthy life with just one kidney, and we have 2. So you know, if you're a living donor, that would be an amazing thing. And if you want to be tested for me, as soon as I'm on the list, you can message me. I can give you all the information that you need. And if you just want to be a donor, like just go to the National Kidney Foundation website, and you can fill out an application there, and you can be a donor for whoever. And even if you were to be tested for me or anybody else, and you're not a match for them, you can be matched with somebody with your blood type, and you can give them your kidney, and in exchange, that person will get a kidney of, you know, with their blood type. And I'm O positive, and so O blood type can only give to O blood type. Even though we are the universal blood type and we can give to anybody, we can only receive from our own. So I can only receive an O blood type. Yeah.
Your kids live with you now?
No, they live with their dad, because right now I'm kind of struggling right now. Like I live with my parents right now, and so they live with their dad. We have joint custody because we already are done with court. Like, so we have 50-50 custody of my youngest, and I see her pretty much whenever I want, whenever she comes over. Yeah. Like, that's how we have it.
And how is the relationship with you and your ex now? Like when you guys do the exchange, is it just is it cordial? Do you guys even speak? Is it
it's complicated.
okay?
It's cordial, but he still tries to get me back, and he still tries to like make passes at me, but it's like, dude, like I see right through you. Like I don't feel that for you anymore. I'm sorry. Like I care about you as a father of my kids. Of course, like I don't want nothing to happen to you because you know that would devastate my children, and I wouldn't want to hurt my children in any way. So I don't wish bad upon him at all. Like regardless of all the things that he's done to me, like don't get me wrong, like it's done some trauma to me and it affects me to this day. But I don't hate him because aside from all of that, he is a good father and he's never hurt our kids. So I give him credit for that, and I can never like, I hate what he's did to me, but I can never hate him because of my kids, because he is a good father to them. And we are cordial, and I just try to stay clear of him because when I'm around him, honestly, he gives me like super anxiety. Like I get like super like nervous, twitchy, and like shaky. Like my heart is racing. Like he just makes me like anxiety ridden. Like I can't be around him. But I'm not angry at him. Like I'm just like whatever. Like I even found out that like after I left him, he had cheated on me. He even had like another kid with somebody else. So I know I'm not angry about it. I'm just, you know, it is what it is.
You wanted to give advice to anybody that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, you know, if there's anybody out there that is in an abusive relationship, toxic relationship, you're not healthy, you want to leave and you think that you can't leave, you can. You can. I was told everything, like I wouldn't make it, nobody would ever love me. I'm gonna just be on the streets. I'm gonna, you know, everything in the book. Don't believe it. You can leave. You're more than capable of leaving. You're strong. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, because I thought that I couldn't. I was ready to give up, and just never give up. Never give up, and just keep fighting. Keep fighting for yourself. Keep fighting for your kids if you have kids. And you can do it. It's easy, and I promise it's gonna be a struggle and it's gonna be hard, because believe me, I struggle to this day still. And but it's gonna be a good struggle because you're not gonna be in that environment anymore, and it's okay. Like just you can do it. You can leave. I promise everything will be okay.
Are you happy right now?
I am happy. I can honestly say that I love my life. Don't get me wrong, like there's some things that I am unhappy with because I wish like I was healthy, and I wish that I didn't have to live on a machine. But aside from that, I am happy that I'm not in that situation anymore, and that I actually want to live, and I love like just being outside. I love being with my kids, like just having a picnic with them, like, or just like literally if we're on the phone, like just hanging out. Like I just love being with them. Like it's not like an environment where I have to watch what I say or walk on eggshells, or I can't watch certain things or can't listen to certain things. Like I love being able to do like what I want to do, and I love being able to express myself and to just speak honestly, because I live my life like just quiet. And even though now like I get scared of speaking out and saying things, and I get super nervous, I love
great,
it.
by the way.
Thank you. I love it honestly because it makes me feel a lot better. Like I'm on this healing journey, and don't get me wrong, like there's days where I'm like, am I ever gonna be happy? Like, am I truly, truly happy? Like, what is happiness? Like, I ask myself that sometimes, and honestly, like all of this, like talking about what I've been through and just talking period. it helps me, and I hope that one day like it'll help somebody else, because that's the main reason why I'm here and like keep fighting. And I haven't given up, because I just want to show like the people around me that you're more than capable of doing it. Like you're more than capable of living your life happy, whether it's like you don't fully have everything that you want. You're still living in your like happy little bubble to get there to where you want to be. And that's like on the road that I'm on right now. I may not have everything that I want, and I may not be where I want to be, but I'm happy on that journey that I'm taking to get to where I want to be. I've been doing makeup for, I want to say 7 years. And just recently, like I do like wedding makeup, glam makeup. I do Halloween makeup, and so just recently I've been starting to do like barber battles, and they do like the barber battles where they have like tag team, and they do like these creative style haircuts, but they have like certain barbers have these like creative categories where they have like face painting, and then they do like a whole haircut to go with it. So I've been doing like that, and it's been so much fun. Like I did Hellboy, I did Star Wars, like this graffiti art all over the face. Like I've done Pennywise, some other clowns, but it's just like it's an amazing feeling, like to transfer people into something else, and then they get into character, and you can see it in their face that they're just like, I don't know, like just lit up, like their face lights up like, oh my God, like, you know, and they're in the mirror or they're on the camera, like doing like, you know, they're into character, and just seeing that along with like the haircut, I don't know, it just does something to me to where I just like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to do, whether it be like, I just keep doing that, or I just keep, you know, I get clients for Halloween, or I eventually move up into like like the movies or something. Like I would love to do that one day, and just never give up. Like you can do it. Like makeup is really what saved my life, and I'm so grateful for makeup. Like I honestly, like people are like, oh, you don't need makeup, and I'm like, yeah, I do. Makeup saved my life. Like I'm gonna get up every day and I'm gonna do my makeup, and I do my makeup. I literally do a full glam face like this every day. I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning just to do my makeup, just to go to dialysis, come home and sleep. Like people are like, why? Like why do you do your makeup? You just go to dialysis and you come home and you just go to sleep. And I'm like, because like it makes me feel good. Like I could feel like crap, and I could be super sick, but if I sit right there and I start doing my makeup, by the time I'm done, I put those lashes on, my hair's done, I'm like, I feel like $1,000,000. I'm ready to conquer the day. And then I just go to dialysis, and I just, you know, get my blood cleaned, and then I'm walking out of there and everybody's like, she always comes with a full face of freaking makeup. Like, I don't know how she does it. And then she's just there sitting in that chair. So I love makeup. Makeup saved my life, and I'm glad for it.
I'm thinking, why don't you ever just do like low-key, kind of like a documentary as you're getting your dialysis?
Yeah, I would love to do something like that, because it's crazy, because a lot of the people that I see in dialysis, well, that I go to, it's all older people. And anytime that I walk in the door, they're like they're just staring at me, because, you know, I look young, and then I have like, you know, I have a full face of makeup on, and I'm just walking in there like da, 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 like with my blanket, like I'm ready, like, but yeah.
You go every day?
Usually people go 3 days a week, but I go 4 days a week, just because it's been hard for me to adjust to like not urinating, because when I first kind of started, like I still kind of urinated, so like I didn't really hold fluid all that much. And now it's just like anything I eat, anything I drink, it's just like I hold it and I get super swollen. And it's like it's just hard for me to kind of maintain my they call it dry weight. It's hard for me to maintain my dry weight right now. So I have to do like 4 days, and it's super tiring.
So you have to.
Yeah, I have to do 4 days. And up until I can like get my dry weight into situation, like, into right there where I'm not gaining like 3 to 4 kilos like every time I go. And that's how much I'm gaining every time I go, and that's a lot.
They can't do like a drainage or something?
No, yeah, well, the dialysis. hmm
But not
Yeah,
something that you could take home.
no. Before I did this, which is called hemodialysis, where they do it with the blood. I did it for a year and a half in the beginning. And then I moved to PD, which is peritoneal dialysis, which is a more gentle form of dialysis, and you have like a catheter in your stomach. So I would literally for 6 years hook up to a machine at night, and it would like fill me up with liquid, and then it would drain. So it would drain out all the toxins like as I slept. So I just had to be on that every day for 8 hours, and I did that for 6 years, up until like it stopped working because honestly, like when I left my husband, my ex-husband, I I I kind of like went through this phase where I didn't really take care of myself, so that dialysis stopped working for me, and I had to go back to hemo. So that's what I'm doing now, hemodialysis. And yeah, it's been rough, but I'm holding up. It's hard, but I get through it. If anybody would like to be tested to be my donor once I'm on the list, you could just message me and I can give you the information. My IG is at makeupby_mel.mua, and you can message me there and I can give you all the information. You can also go to the website, which is www.nationalkidneyfoundation.com, and they have a form there on how to become a donor, and you can fill out that form, and then somebody will contact you, or they'll send you like a packet at your mailing address. And yeah, and even if you go to the DMV, when you renew your license and they ask you if you want to be a donor, you can just check the yes box and you can be a donor, and it'll really help, save lives, and especially, a living donor that'll help by saving my life. So if you would like to, once again, you can just message me and I can give you all the information.
And then also when it comes down to the makeup and barber thing that you were talking about,
Yes, and
is that
if you
something
ever,
that's ongoing?
yeah, the barber, I think they have a competition like I want to say every month or every couple months. But yeah, if you need like some Halloween makeup, if you need some glam makeup, you can always hit me up on my IG too.
What about your Facebook?
My Facebook is also Makeup by Mel MUA. And then that's also my Instagram, which is makeupby_mel.mua. But on Facebook, you can find me at either Mel Moreno or Makeup by Mel. I just want to encourage, everyone out there that if you're going through a hard time and you want to give up, don't give up, because you were meant to be here and you have a great purpose. And we may not know what our purpose is, but we just gotta fight and keep moving towards what we love. And whether it be like cleaning, like you love cleaning, start a cleaning business. You love drawing, start like a little school that you teach people how to draw. Like, you can do anything you set your mind to, I promise you. And you just don't give up. Just don't give up. This is Mel Moreno, and thank you for listening to my story, and this is Making Changes.